Candyman was released in 1992 and was directed by Bernard Rose and is based off of the short story The Forbidden by Clive Barker. It stars Virginia Madsen, Tony Todd, Xander, Berkeley, and Casey Lemmons, and follows the story of a grad student that is preparing her thesis on urban legends and folklore and decides to tackle the infamous Candyman, who was the son of an ex-slave who in the 1900s was murdered for a relationship he had with a white woman. And rumor has it, if you say his name 5 times while looking in a mirror, Candyman will appear and kill you. Guys, I'm really excited to finally talk about this movie. With the new Candyman movie coming out, I had to sit down and rewatch this movie. And this is only the second time I've ever watched this film, and the second time was even better than the first. Candyman is a film that feels like an old lost classic that you are finally discovering for the first time, and it's beautifully shot, wonderfully acted and directed, and has one of the most haunting scores I have ever seen for a horror film, and it's very memorable too. And it also has one of the greatest, I think, villains of any horror film ever. I'm somebody that is really fascinated by urban legends and folklore. West Virginia has a ton of other folkloric creatures, such as the Mothman and many others. And it's so interesting to me, and I love that this film tries to tackle that urban legend. And while I'm watching it, I feel like I am witnessing a true urban legend brought to the screen. Now, the standouts of this film, which I have mentioned, first I'm going to talk about the acting, particularly with Virginia Madsen, who is wonderful as the main protagonist of this story. She is so energetic, so interesting, so ready to just delve into the darkness of Cabrini Green, where it's said that Candyman resides at. And it's where a lot of murders have been taking place. So she travels there to try to investigate and learn more about the legend itself. But she is wonderful in this film. This is a really good performance for a horror film. And horror films have great performances, but sometimes they're not as layered as I think something like this truly is. Also, other performances, Tony Todd is absolutely amazing. Candyman is a fantastic antagonist, and Tony Todd just has the most awesome voice of any horror villain I have ever heard. I mean, up there with Robert Englund. He's so terrifying, and he doesn't show up on screen until around 45 minutes into the movie, which is a long time to hold off showing your villain. When he is revealed, it is truly haunting, and it means something, and every time he shows up after, it's really terrifying, really gruesome, and it's just very well done. The directing of this film, Bernard Rose did such a great job in really conceiving this tight, short little movie into something that is really thought-provoking at times and really makes you think a little bit. It has a lot of issues that it's dealing with, some with race, and that's some stuff that I would like to see explored more in the new movie that's coming out. But I think he does a really good job with this film, and the cinematography is wonderful. I particularly love the beginning shots of this movie as we are watching the credits roll and we're just watching the traffic of Chicago go by. Those shots are really good, but also there's just great set design here, using Cabrini Green itself as a set. There's this wonderful shot of Virginia Madsen going through Cabrini Green and exiting through the mouth of Candyman, more or less. Candyman has been drawn and painted on the walls, and it's really like you're entering another world throughout that entire sequence. It's just so dreamlike and haunting. Also, the horror moments of this film are fantastic. They're so grim and violent, but they don't really dwell on the violence too much. There are some graphic images here, but it's very subtle too. But it's just enough to really spook you and creep you out, particularly once Virginia Madsen's character has met Candyman and now has to deal with a bunch of people dying and her being framed for it. And it's just wonderfully done. The score is also fan-frickin-tastic. Philip Glass created, I think, in my personal opinion, one of the all-time great horror soundtracks, using a lot of orchestral music, choir. It's beautiful, it's haunting, and it's epic in scale. It makes you really feel like you are watching something that is truly grand and out of this world, and it feels like a folk tale, like something that you may be sitting down and your grandpa might be telling you this story. It's just so well crafted. And also, this movie has one of my favorite endings to not only a horror film, but a movie in general. It is so satisfying and so interesting. Guys, I love Candyman. This is one of my favorite horror films of all time. I think it does such a great job of building this myth into something that is tangible and interesting. The characters I find so great. The acting is really, really good, and the direction, the cinematography, and the music all blend together to make something that is truly, I think, really special. And that's why I think Candyman has lasted so long in the public consciousness, and why, of all times, we are now getting a spiritual sequel to this original film. Now, there were some sequels that came out years later. They're apparently not that good. I have not seen them, but I would be interested in seeing them just to see Tony Todd as this character. Also, I have to mention, Tony Todd is such an underrated actor that I really wish that he was in more stuff, and more really good stuff, because I just absolutely love him. So anyway, guys, with all that said, I'm going to give Candyman an 8 out of 10. Well, guys, I want to thank you for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And stay positive.